All right, my friends, welcome to episode 334 of Prof and Dev Play Games. We took last week off, but we are back on Easter night recording, talking about video games. My name is Larry, the professor, at Prof Plays Games on Twitter. Over there is Anthony, the dev, at Summerspeak. How are you on this Easter egg day?
Fine. We kept it pretty minimal today, but
Nice.
my kids really did enjoy the Easter eggs. And it's funny for my oldest, who is approaching 12, and you're getting to that point where it's like, okay, you're definitely seeming not as childish anymore in a lot of ways, in some ways, and like getting separated from that. But oh no, not when it's Easter eggs.
Still into the Easter egg hunt, huh?
Oh, the joy just came spilling out, and like excitement over finding the plastic eggs with candy.
Yep, totally.
It was an exciting time.
Awesome. Yeah, our daughter too she loved it. It was great. Lots of Easter egg hunting. She got a couple of toys that she was very excited about. And she just played with them all day and played with us, and it was a very happy day. Holidays are hard for me, and this was a very good one. So very happy about that.
That's great.
Yeah. So this week we got like a hodgepodge of a couple of different news items that we kind of wanted to talk about and just touch base. We haven't talked in a couple weeks. I'm sure Elden Ring's going to come up at some point, but maybe not in the ways that people imagine. We'll talk about it a bit. But I did want to start with, we had a couple of news items. I want to start with The Witcher. Witcher 3 Next Gen, got delayed indefinitely. And some people, at least from some things that I saw, are kind of upset and freaking out about it being delayed and maybe for how long. But the news article that I had heard originally was they were bringing it in-house, and I'm really excited about this, actually, despite the fact that I really want this next-gen version. They're bringing it in-house completely because it was at Saber Interactive Russia. And CD Projekt was like, now we're pulling this and out of Russia and putting it back with us, which will then add, I don't know if they know when that will finish. They don't want to give a date because they're working on other shit too, but they're like, we are making a decision right now. It's out of Russia. It's here, and I am all for it. I don't care how long it's delayed.
Yeah, no, I hadn't seen that until you had posted that article, that was the reasoning.
Yep.
Why? I just saw that, like, they gave indefinite time frame, but it makes sense because I think it's just indefinite because they are investigating what had actually been done, and they don't want to give a date that they're not confident in. So it's less this won't be happening, we don't know how this can happen, vaporware situation. It's much more of we're going to do our due diligence and actually give a proper date once we understand the work that needs to be completed.
Yeah, exactly. Got to assess it, and it could come out June this year, it could come out next year, who knows, but
yeah,
they need to see, and they just need to pull it out of Russia. They're done. Fuck
yeah.
it. So
yeah,
all for it.
Yeah, I had no clue that it was even being done out of house.
Yeah, luckily, I had heard that, but luckily the first news article I'd heard about this mentioned it directly in relation to pulling it out of Russia. And I was like, oh, okay, fine, cool, whatever. Like, yeah. I have this game anyways. It's going to look prettier, but whatever. I can play it if I want to play it. If I ever get pulled away from Elden Ring. Although I'm pulling myself away from Elden Ring, and we'll talk about that later, I'm sure.
Yeah. Saber did the Switch version. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, right.
Witcher. That makes sense why it would still... They're just like, no, we contract Saber. They did kind of miracles making Witcher 3 run on a Switch at all.
Yes, exactly. It's muddy as fuck, but it plays.
I mean, they did what they had to do. Okay, so that makes some sense there. But yeah, it's good to see. Most studios are pulling on any work out of Russia they have. So,
Yep.
Good job for doing that invasion, Putin. That was great for all these companies.
Yeah, I saw a picture yesterday of a guy who is a volunteer in Bucha, just pulling bodies out of mass graves, and his face is just like a horror.
Yeah, I can see that.
Fuck Putin. Fuck the Russian army.
Fuck it all.
Yep, fuck them all. How about you decide where we go next from The Witcher?
Okay, let's stay with CD Projekt because this was all kind of out of their investment call.
Right.
Going on and talking about all this stuff. They had two things with Cyberpunk. One, they feel. Let's start with the positives. There is going to be an expansion for it in 2023. They are currently working on it. I don't know what that's going to be. Could be. If looking historically with like the Witcher stuff, like their expansions either were stuff that fit into the existing game, giving you more to do as you play through it, or things like Blood and Wine, which are a sequel almost in some ways.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they'll do this. I mean, I beat Cyberpunk and it didn't completely seem open to a sequel, like continuation of the story. Your story of V kind of felt pretty done at the end of it. So I'm curious what an expansion would be for it. And that's kind of the good news. They're like, okay, we're doing more for it. We want to do an expansion. The bad news to me was when they were like, we feel like the majority of our work is done with Cyberpunk 2077 in its current state. Which I'm like, 1.5 was a big improvement for sure. But I still think they probably have another like 25% to go to really refine the game and kind of put the bow tie on it. And
they're maybe not willing to do that in this version.
Yeah, either this version or they'll hold that stuff as a patch when the expansion comes out. Maybe is like my glass half full reading on it. But there's also a thing of, okay, we're just kind of abandoning it now.
It's running well enough. We're not going to dedicate any more time to this. We're moving on to Witcher 4.
Yeah, Witcher 4 and this Cyberpunk expansion. They did say that Cyberpunk had sold 18 million copies at this point. So
yeah, and they had projected 30 though. I thought.
Did they?
I thought I had heard that in the podcast this last week, and they had either sourced CD Projekt Red or a Polish like accounting firm or something who had thought that. So I'm not sure if it was CD Projekt Red or this accounting firm.
Well, I mean,
18 million is still, I mean, pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm looking at Witcher 3.
It's like 40
Witcher
million?
3 has sold 40 million copies and then since 2015.
Right. So, I mean, Cyberpunk could still, I mean, that's 7 years, so Cyberpunk still has, 5 more to go.
Yeah, and so that makes more sense. I'm like, do I think Cyberpunk would sell as much as Witcher? Probably not.
No.
I think Cyberpunk is a bit more of a niche product just to begin with. The Witcher, especially now, I mean, you have your TV show, which spiked sales.
Yep.
Like, incredibly.
Well, both seasons, right? Season 1, then Season 2, you had the 2 spikes.
Every time a new season's going to come out of that, you're going to see Witcher 3 sales have a nice big bump. Cyberpunk won't ever have anything like that.
Right.
So, I think if it's 18 million now, say give it 7 years, it's probably going to be like a 30 million total.
And that's their estimate, so that they kind of hit that over time.
Yeah, over time it's going to get there. Maybe they thought it would get there faster. It could have if they hadn't botched the launch. But
when that number had come out, the podcast I was listening to said, okay, that's impressive, but remember, after like a month or two after launch, it had sold 14 million. So between then and now, 4 million.
Yeah,
pretty dead tail, really.
It is.
And I don't know, like one of our friends posted in our Discord like $5 Cyberpunk or whatever because the company or whatever the Target is getting rid of or opening up shelf space or whatever.
Yeah, it's the PS4 version, I believe.
Oh, okay.
It's like the last gen. I mean, there isn't a next gen version of it, so.
Well,
no, there was now.
There is now. I don't know if there's a disc one, but
no, not a disc.
Yeah,
it's just an update.
But even then,
I know,
I guess
Best Buy was jettisoning PS4 versions of it.
Yeah, I guess my point though is like, okay, how they're not $60 a pop that they're selling for now.
No.
I got mine for 20.
And even on PC, it's 30.
Yeah, right. I bought it for 30 on Epic, but I had a $10 coupon, so it ended up being 20.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And I still haven't touched it.
I don't think it's done. done as well as they've hoped, and I think it's CDPR only has themselves to blame for that.
Yeah, totally.
So,
but I'm glad they're chugging along. They released 1.5 in February, and then they gave an update in 1.6 in March to fix some more bugs. So they're still doing something, I guess. It's not they're not gonna No Man's Sky themselves, but
no. Which is fun to shift to No Man. That's a great transition.
Wow, that was unintentional.
To another news story. Hello Games has talked a little bit about their next project.
Yeah,
which is not a sequel to No Man's Sky. Makes sense. I wouldn't have. The game that they've made, they haven't shown themselves to want to make sequels.
Except for their numerous expansions they keep putting out.
Yes, No Man's Sky just had its Outlaws expansion, so you can now play effectively. This is going to be a very dated reference. The old game Privateer inside of No Man's Sky, which was a space sim from the mid-90s where you could play a space pirate, and you would buy low or steal things and sell high and explore the galaxy. They just took them a few years, but they crammed it into No Man's Sky.
And it's optional to opt into that, right? Like I could avoid that stuff and not get pirated?
I think so.
Okay, good.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It sounds like there might be bugs with it right now where people were getting pirated. I don't know. I haven't played it. But there are space capes now. So, because there's no good space pirate isn't wearing a cape.
Right.
So.
That makes sense.
So that came out, but then Sean Murray was now talking about their next game that they're starting on. So he says, quote, "For a while now, we've been working on something pretty ambitious in the background. It's a small team, but we like it that way. Similar to No Man's Sky, it's the kind of project that even if we had 1,000 people working on it, it'd still seem impossible."
That scares me. That statement right
No,
there.
I don't like. I get it. Sean Murray is ever the showman.
Yeah.
Wants to hype up the stuff, and I'm sure it's because he's excited about what they're working on. But I think I would hope these learn some lessons from the launch of No Man's Sky.
Right.
That maybe overhyping your early projects is a bad plan.
Yes. Very bad.
Because that didn't work out well for you. I mean, it's turned out well now, I would say.
It took a long time.
It took a long time, and it took a lot of pain to get there. And I don't think you want to put. If I was in his position, I wouldn't want to put the team through that again.
Yeah, so it's a lot of negative scrutiny.
Yeah, it's a lot of negative scrutiny because he was out there publicly saying all these things that the game was going to do, and it just didn't do at launch.
Yeah.
And it was because he was publicly stating that. And hopefully he decides not to do that here. And maybe they have learned through the time. He's like, yes, it's very ambitious. It's crazy that we're going to try to tackle this problem. We will, like we do with updates to No Man's Sky now, show it to you when it's ready. And we can actually show you these things in motion.
And maybe they won't partner with like something like Sony or whatever, who also wants to help them hype it up.
Yeah, I don't think they need to partner with anybody anymore, honestly.
Right.
I think No Man's Sky has made them more than enough money to do it themselves. Although any indie developer in their shoes, if someone, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo came in and was like, hey, we want to co-market this for you, I don't think you would say no. Really?
No, they're basically handing you money to co-market, right? So.
Yeah, you're just like they're like, oh, you're gonna get our name out to far more people than we'd ever get it out to.
Yeah.
So, it's always kind of that fine line, but Hello Games has been through a lot, and hopefully they've learned from that. It feels like they have, and how they do their updates for No Man's Sky, and like Outlaws wasn't pre-announced. They put up a trailer this past week, and they're like, it's available now.
Yeah.
Here's what's coming. Here's what's in it. Go.
When that came up, I was like, I must have missed the pre-hype for this because I didn't even know this was a thing. Nope. Okay, good.
The most that they've ever pre-hyped a patch is like maybe a week and a half.
Yeah.
They don't try to pre-hype it. They release the trailer very shortly to when it's going to release and shows exactly what's going into the update.
I love the way that they're doing that, because I think we talked before about the way Nintendo does directs, where they just keep themselves in the news. Like, this just keeps No Man's Sky in the news, but then it spikes sales, obviously. Like we talked about the Witcher seasons. This has got to goose sales a little bit. I'm sure I haven't seen Steam this time, but in the past, whenever there was a patch or an update or expansion or what the fuck ever, it would be on sale on Steam.
It is 30. It's 30% off.
There you go.
Or 50% off. It's normal $30.
Right.
It is currently the third best-selling game on Steam. It's been that way this entire weekend.
Yep. They know what they're doing, man.
And I'll be saying I'm tempted to pick it up again for PC, because I was only playing it through Game Pass, and it would be nice to just own it, I think.
Oh, wait.
But every time I own it on PlayStation. No, I own it on PlayStation.
Oh, got it.
But I wouldn't like to own it. I've played it on PC through Game Pass.
Got it. Okay.
A couple years ago, and I was like, oh, I like playing this on PC more than playing it on console. But I've never picked it up on PC, like actual, like my own copy.
Right.
But again, I know it will be 50% off again in a few months. So,
yep.
Because so there's no rush there. So yeah. What was the other bit of news here?
Go ahead.
There's a couple cool ones here. If you got anything more to say on this.
I don't. No.
Okay. I posted right below this. This was cool. I don't know if this will roll out to other services and other parts of the world, but Sony and Nintendo are going to change the renewal systems in the UK. Or maybe Europe. It definitely is happening
EU.
in the EU.
Yeah,
it could be EU, but this
EU.
was
this
was a UK investigation.
Yeah.
But I think it's the EU. Basically, if you're not using the features of your PlayStation Plus, what is the Nintendo one? I don't even know because I never look at
Switch
it. Online, yes. They'll email you before they auto renew, and it will not auto set to automatic renew.
So you can't like forget that you fucking have a service and just keep paying for it.
Nope.
Like we do with all the other shit.
And if you're not using it, they have to contact you and say, "Hey, do you still really want this?"
And if they don't hear back from you, then they have to stop charging you and shut it off. Fucking great.
I'm hoping this rolls out to the U.S. That'd be amazing.
God, I can't see that. It
won't, because
anything pro-consumer. Nah, it's not happening here.
But man, that's a great change, because this was actually probably will start influencing, like for EU at least, you'll see this hit most subscription services. That Netflix account you never use,
yep,
it will go away because you're not using it. So they can't just continue to charge you for those months you're forgetting about it.
That hurts their bottom line, unfortunately, for them, but it's good, man. I really appreciate the idea that on some level, people are looking out for those kind of, it's not really insidious, but it is, everyone's moved to subscriptions because they know you forget eventually and you just keep paying, I just remembered I had a music subscription that I was like, nope, I don't need to keep paying for that.
Yeah, it was a nice little bright spot. You're right. It will never happen in the U.S. probably, but
I'm sorry to be pessimistic, but I cannot fucking see it.
No. I mean, unless our laws changed or we pass something on that regard, I don't see the companies, the corporations making that change to be nice to everybody.
Right.
So yeah, that was a fun one though. I only had one more.
Yeah, the Bungie thing is pretty interesting.
It kind of ties into there's a couple things to this that I can bring up. So Bungie tweeted, Bungie is going digital first. Most current and future roles will be fully remote, eligible in these states. More coming soon. So Yeah, Bungie is remote now, or at least most roles. They still want some internal, but
yeah, they have an option of having a number of positions. It seems like they can opt into being remote only.
yeah,
It expands your talent pool, doesn't it?
It does a lot. And people say, like, so the states that they have right now where you can work are Washington, of course, that's where they're based up here, Oregon, California, Texas, Illinois, I think that's North Carolina, and Florida. And probably the reasons why that is they've already have corporations set up in those states. Because there's some weirdness if you're, because I know this from System Era and different people asking the question of like, so can I move to X, Y, or Z state where we have no corporate setup? And it's actually a pain in the ass because if you have employees in the state, you need to register as a corporation in that state, like set up for taxes and the whole thing. And it's actually kind of a pain in the ass.
We had the same thing at our college where during the pandemic, like people I know, they're like, they aren't living here. They're living somewhere else in the state. And some people lived in Colorado or Utah, and one person was teaching from Italy for the last semester.
Yeah.
And they were like, you have to live in the state. Like you can't cross state lines and teach from there for similar reasons.
It's all taxes and it's kind of obnoxious, but
yeah.
System Era has set it up where it's like if people want to be that way, we can talk. We can discuss it because you would probably just have to become a contractor then, and they would adjust everything accordingly and make sure that you're paid accordingly. But if you're not gonna live in Washington because we don't have offices anywhere else, or we do have a Canadian company subsidiary, System Era Canada.
Okay.
That has 2 employees, I believe, one of which is one of the founders. Yeah. So,
like what do I have to do to live here?
We can hire people in Canada as well if we want to.
Or you could move to Canada.
I could move to Canada.
Yeah.
And having a friend visit me in Canada this past weekend, Canada sounds pretty cool. I'll say that.
Yeah, dude.
But Bungie is taking this road of just being like, expand our talent pool. I'm sure they're going to get tons of applications now from people in all these states. California and Texas being huge on the tech industry side of things.
Yep.
All those game devs in Austin are like, sure, why not? All those Activision Blizzard employees disgruntled. Why not see if we can work remote for Bungie in California? So yes, I believe this will be very good for them getting high quality talent, which is completely the opposite thing that came out this past week with Riot and Activision Blizzard. I think Activision Blizzard was a week before, where they're basically just forcing everyone back into the office now, no matter status.
Okay,
vaccinated
I didn't fucking hear this.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yep.
Activision Blizzard saying, I don't care if you're vaccinated or not, you're all coming back to work face to face.
Yep.
Oh, fuck that place even more.
And Riot.
Well, fuck Riot always, but fuck them both always. Wow. Wow, they're both like, hey, let's both be fucking dicks at the same time? Oh,
I guess so. Even though I do know some people at Riot, and they're not going back, so I don't know what the exact line is there. Maybe you can just get an exception. I don't know. But either way, it's still... They put out their general. Let's see if I can find it. Riot Games tells workers, this is on Vice, to return to office without vaccine or mask requirements.
Get fucked, people! Oh my god!
And then that was from 9 days ago. That was early this week. And then the week of March 31st, Activision Blizzard removes vaccine mandate effective immediately. Employees no longer need to be fully vaccinated in order to return to office.
Oh, and then, by the way, we're going to force you to come back to the office. Cool. I wonder why we have surges.
Employees and walk out over that. Of course.
Fuck, man. Fuck that place. So, we all have friends who work there. And like I don't. Okay, taking a step back, Microsoft doesn't have that policy, as far as I know.
Nope.
But
they're also not forcing people back to the office.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're not doing that. So I wonder, obviously Microsoft can do nothing about this now, but when they become part of Microsoft, obviously they would be following Microsoft policy and they could reverse some of this stuff. But if they
maybe
wanted to.
They're also a subsidiary, so I don't know how much leeway they'll have to do what they want. So who knows? And they're not going to be a Microsoft company
for a while.
If that happens, the very end of this year, beginning of next year,
yeah, exactly.
Like that takes a long time. So, yeah, that was a fun thing. And then Bungie put out their thing of being like, no, we're just going remote. Like, we're not going to force anyone back into being in our office. Ever.
It's working, Yeah. My wife works at a different college district than I do, and they got a notice that was like the potential to work remotely indefinitely, depending on department need and whatever else. So it's more like an option, like it's possible if multiple people agree that it's good, which is interesting. And boy, I kind of felt like the pandemic showed us all we don't all need to be in the office.
No.
Oh, fuck, man.
I mean, I've done one day many weeks ago.
Right.
And I just wanted to see what it was. It seemed like people were back in the office, and there was like, including me, 5 people in an office for just over 40.
Yeah.
And that was whenever numbers were really low. They're not really low anymore, and so I'm just like, I'm not going back in again. But again, it's also been a false start on it because like there's pretty strict requirements that System Era has set on like where community transmission levels have to be for them to be even confident to start. They won't require anyone back into the office, but to be like, put the call up to saying like, hey, if you want to come back into the office.
Yeah. Right.
And the numbers were low enough when we thought about a month ago, like, okay, looking okay. Let's put the signal up that it's in a couple weeks. If you want to start trying to figure out how you want to come back into the office and stuff, let's start working that out. And now numbers have like quadrupled.
Exactly. Yep.
Community transmission. And now they're like, never mind. It's fine. We're done. Again, this is like the third false start. And I
wish, not your company specifically, but, obviously like my college, but other colleges and whatever else. It's like, okay, the CDC has changed the way we count. Everything looks good. We're ready. We're going to go all in and going back in. And in 3 weeks, y'all, it's going to be the fucking going back up again. Like, take a breath. We've done this 4 fucking times.
Yeah. And I guess System Era has been like the current way it works tends to be the numbers get where they are. And then as soon, let's say I think it's like 50 cases in 100,000 per 100,000 or lower. It has to maintain that for 3 weeks before they start saying, hey, let's try hybrid. And even the hybrid thing is talk with your manager. Do you need to be in the office? Do you not? Like,
right.
Figure it out.
I just think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, but nothing has ever sustained for 3 weeks.
Yes, exactly.
We got very close. We got 2 weeks here.
I mean, we were talking, at Easter today with the grandparents because our daughter is almost, get 2 months away from 5, like the magical day we've been waiting for fucking years to get her vaxxed. And the grandparents are eligible for the next booster, and they're waiting until she gets hers because they're, worried about the fall surge that we all know is going to happen. And they want to make sure that they're properly boosted for then as opposed to get it now, and then the protection kind of peaks earlier than it needs to be. Just reminds you of like popping some sort of like super on Destiny or whatever too early.
yeah, you're like you're gaming out.
Exactly, they're totally gaming it because
boosters.
They're smart to know we've seen the data, we've seen the trends happen over and over and over again. When our daughter goes to kindergarten, that's when the next surge is going to be. But at least this time she'll have a vaccine. So
yes, that will be nice.
Boy.
Yeah, I look at the cases per 100,000 and then the current R value.
Yeah.
And
Well,
right now for King County, I look at the King County COVID dashboards because we get all sorts of COVID dashboard information. It's great. And the current R value is 1.2, and I want that to be under 1 for me to feel comfortable, doing a lot of things.
When you come down here, are you flying?
I am flying. Have to do it.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's a long drive.
It's a 23-hour drive from Seattle to San Diego.
Yeah.
So no. We're gonna fly, and I mean, I assume we're gonna all be masked no matter what the mandate is, but I'm like, the travel mandate's not getting relaxed anytime soon. I know they pushed it out a few weeks.
Exactly.
And I'm like, no, I don't see the trajectory of cases changing anytime.
Right.
Recent, so I assume that's going to extend longer. And I know a lot of pilots and flight attendants, like their unions, are pushing to keep mask mandates longer.
Even the pilots? That surprises me. Every time I hear like an outspoken person on a plane, it's like the fucking pilot. You voted for the guy.
I guess it depends on the airline in some ways. Yeah. I don't know how the pilot unions work.
Yeah. But certainly flight attendants have to deal with people.
Yeah. And I think their unions are still very much like, even though we have to deal with this, we still want them to be masked, please.
Exactly. That's kind of how I feel like to deal with like the unruly people who are like, I'm not wearing a mask. Yeah. Well, we're gonna fucking land in the middle of fucking Salt Lake, not the fucking airport.
I
don't know, man.
But yes, I'm flying down. I'll be stocked with a round of COVID tests for the family, so that a couple days in we can take them. Make sure we're good. But I mean, we traveled in Colorado in the last summer. I guess that was a very low point.
Yeah.
And we were fine. So we're all vaccinated, we're all boosted. Kids are fine. The amount of people we see is very low. So I'm like, okay, just, I don't know. Everyone should just be masked on a plane. You're in a disease tube in the sky.
I'm never not wearing a mask again on a plane. Like,
I kind of.
And theater too, man. Like musical theater. Like, I'm just crammed in with people. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
People were always sneezing before, and now I'm like, oh god. Yep. Can't do it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like, that'll be good. I'm looking forward to that. I think that's like in a month, less than a month.
Yeah, dude.
Crap.
Yeah. We are. It's gonna be awesome to see y'all.
I'm excited.
Man, these 2 years of this podcast, or however long this continues forever, is such a time capsule. Go back and listen to our video game podcast where half of it's talking about COVID.
Yeah, because that's what's going on. And actually, I'm wondering when we'll start getting video games about COVID.
Oh God, I would not. Well, we did. It was Last of Us 2. Just kidding.
Yes, I mean that came out during
right at the beginning.
Everything right at the beginning. But I mean, we've had two years now of pandemic. I'm like, okay, when's the flood of media about the pandemic now coming? And games will be included in that.
Oh God.
Because it's gonna happen, right?
Of course it is. Of course.
Because you make art about what you're experiencing, or a lot of people do, and have experienced. So it's coming. Wow, I had just thought of that. I'm like, okay, so 2023 probably we'll start seeing the smatterings of that stuff.
Boy, I'm not ready to experience that.
Yeah.
Even Last of Us was too hard for me. It was beautiful. I want to go back to it, but man, I was like, nope. I was like 6 hours in. I got to the guitar shop. I was like, great, I did it. All right, I've done enough. Fucking out.
Yeah, let's put this down now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's all the news I had.
Yeah, why don't we transition into what we have been playing?
Sure.
For me, Mario Party is a big staple in our house right now. It's fucking great. That shitty Mario Party they put on the Switch that they never updated and was just super fucking annoying, that they only did like 4 boards and never had any updates, is fine because it turns out my daughter likes one board. And we play that one board over and over and over and over and over. And it's fun. It's great. She loves it. She's like super into board games right now, like, physical board games.
Yeah.
We have some iPad board games, and I was like, well, I want to try Mario Party. And when I showed her before, she was like not into it, and now she's like super into it.
Yep.
It's cool. And then we played some Majora's Mask on the 3DS yesterday morning. Yesterday morning. She just likes to run around. We just got to the swamp, and she's like, we have 3 days to get through the swamp. Let's do it. And she wants to take the controller, and then she just runs around Clocktown and just like goes to all the places she's been in Clocktown. It's like, well, we have a limited amount of time. We should go to the swamp. She's like, yeah, let me just run around first. Like, okay, well, I guess we're just running around Clocktown for 3 days again. So we're making no progress, and that's fine. Other than that, I have been playing Elden Ring, and I have been unconsciously doing something that I think you've come to a realization about. I'll play one night, and the next night I can't play. I'll play a night, and then I won't want to play the next night. It's pretty intense for me, that game. And it's been a fuck ton of fun. I just beat Renala in the Academy, and I just love the Academy.
Nice.
I love the Academy. I love that.
Academy is like one of my favorite places in the entire game.
Me too, man.
Absolutely fucking love that place.
It's just like, almost feels like, fucking Harry Potter, Hogwarts Castle or whatever. And I didn't know anything about the Renala fight. So I showed up in, spoilers and stuff, folks, so fast forward. All right. All of her followers or whatever on the ground, and I just start fucking taking them all out. I'm like, okay, ready, I'm going to take them all out. And then I started to realize, wait a second, she's in a golden sphere thing. A couple of her followers are too. What if I hit them? And I realized that too late the first fight, so I almost got her down, but there was one more round to do, and I died. But then I came back and I beat that easily, the first one, once I realized, I had to break their fucking orbs. I'm two-handing Uchikatanas now. Because Travis had said, well, are you power stancing? I'm like, you mean like two-handing? He's like, no. Uchikatana
one
in
of
each
each
hand. And I was like, not yet. I should go find that. And it turns out the death-touched catacombs or whatever, I had already beaten, but there was a guy on a fucking high, platform that I couldn't reach. And I was like, I'll figure that out later. Should have stayed and figured it out because that was the Uchikatana. So now I've got a +6 and a +8 Uchi. And fucking bleed is fucking OP.
Yeah, it seems a little OP, doesn't it?
A little bit.
I will say that.
Yeah, like I shredded Renala, and I was like, okay, this is a sorceress. This person's going to be using magic. I'm just going to get right up in her face and be really aggressive.
Yep.
So when they rolled over to the second phase, I just kept chasing her, kept running away, kept chasing her, and just slicing the shit out of her. I ignored her summons and just went right at her, and the second time I beat her, and I was like, I was so glad I didn't hear about any of it because I felt like I accomplished something by solving the little puzzle in her boss fights and being aggressive, and it was just like, I don't know. I feel so accomplished every time that I beat something in that fucking game, and it's great.
Oh, yeah. And I will say that I feel like that fight, like I wasn't power stancing at that point when I was fighting her.
Mm-hmm.
I was two-handing the katana.
Yeah.
Which was fine. And I didn't have much trouble with that fight. Again, just being like super aggressive like you. That made sense.
Yep.
You're just going to hit other fights where it was the next major fight that I did where that didn't work out well for me at all.
Right.
And that was the one that took me like 30 attempts.
Which boss was that?
Radon.
Oh, yeah.
I respect for Radon.
Yeah.
Like, being a melee in Radon, good luck. Was... Okay. I was happy that I got him. I got him down to, like, under 10% in his second phase multiple times. I just couldn't seal the deal as a melee. His attacks are huge and sporadic and fast and huge AoEs.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So you respect into magic and then respect back to melee after the fight?
No, because I did Radon like attempted it like 25-ish times, and I was like, I'm done. I'm not gonna mess with this anymore. This is really frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something else, and then I went and hunted down Moonveil. Got Moonveil. Respect for Moonveil.
Got it.
But when I did my respect, I respected enough so I could use a faith 1 incantation that helped me in the fight.
Got it.
Because I didn't need that much faith. I needed like 12.
Yeah.
So I just respect myself so that it was a much more straightforward fight.
And did you stick with that respec, or did you go back?
Yeah,
to
yeah, because then that's when I was making the switch to be using like the Moonveil, which is an int-based katana scaling.
Right.
So I went heavy int at that point, but was still not using spells all that much. Like I just was using the Moonveil's magic attack.
Right. Yeah, I'm concerned about if I respect where I had like a sorcery of some kind, because it's up on the D-pad for sorcery, which I've remapped that to use item. So I'm totally used to using up as use item, because if anything's on L1 or R1, I click it. Just fucking when I panic roll or whatever. So I just started like healing myself out of fucking for no reason. I was like, I gotta get it off of fucking L1. So I'm not sure. I don't have enough buttons to put a sorcery anywhere right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was rare that I would use the sorceries themselves because you need a focus base, a staff,
yeah, right,
in your offhand to use it. And most times I was actually just wielding a shield, and actually the shield from the Harriet Knight you fought before Renala, which that fight fucking sucked. Before getting up to Renala, there's the knight you have to fight.
I have the shield. I'm struggling to remember the fucking. Oh no, yeah, he's in the open field. Yeah, got it.
The dude right before the elevator.
Exactly.
You have to like fight him.
Yeah, I had seen before I went in there. There was a message on the ground that said "try arrow," so I shot.
Yeah. That's how I did it. Was a samurai. Eventually, but actually, like straight up fighting him, he's hard. I would say he's harder than the Renala fight.
I took him. I mean, I'm sure I'm higher than where you were. Like the power stancing with the fucking bleed. Like he was tough, but I didn't die. But then I died once at Renala just because I was looking to solve the puzzle first.
So. But he drops a cool shield that's an int shield. Yeah. And so I was using that shield and Moonveil.
Nice.
It was a cool build. I really like that character a lot. Yeah. And I just ran that for the rest of the game. No issues.
I'm really hoping to stick with 2 Uchis the whole way, like get them keep
probably.
Them up. But I just love it. It's fun. Like I thought I'm I don't know, 38 hours in. I still love this. I don't need. There's like so much more depth to the game with other characters or builds or whatever. I'm like, I'm sure I'll experience that at some point. I just love this.
Yeah. I mean, I can quickly talk about the fact that I have not been playing this game.
Yeah. Well,
since coming back on vacation, I have not touched it, even though I'm like, man, really want to, because I don't think like you, I have to have a night off. I wasn't noticing how much this game was affecting me.
Yeah.
It crept up on me in those weeks because I was playing it nightly. I was playing it at lunch. When I wasn't playing it, I was thinking about it. I was watching videos about it. I was dreaming about it, which was the part that I think that was starting to screw me up. And I think it was really messing me up mentally, putting me in a really bad mental state. And it's not that it's a scary game, but it's not kind, I would put it. And so I've just, for my mental health, I've been like, I need to separate myself from this game. Which is unfortunate, but it's just the truth. It's been rare that a game has affected me like that. And the thing was, like I said, I just didn't realize it was happening. It was so subtle over time.
Until you got some time away
from
it.
Just distance from it. And I was like, and then I remembered waking up after a couple nights away from it and having like, I just had a normal dream. Like, I can't remember what I was dreaming about, but I woke up and I was like, it wasn't like a creepy dream. It wasn't any kind of anxiety kind of waking up. It was just whatever my subconscious wanted to deal with at the time, which was not Elden Ring, which was good. So I have not touched it, which is kind of sad. because I was really still enjoying the game quite a bit, and I was about 3/4 of the way through on my second character again.
Right.
Um,
But you've like wrung so much out of that game that you've really experienced so much of it that even if you have to set it aside for a while, like you've got a lot of experience out of it. Or
I do, and there's still so much more I wanted to experience. There are whole chunks of the map now that I'm like, oh, I didn't explore that area. I want to go see that. Not chunk, like I went to every map area. I had every map for the entire game. Like I'd been to every major area, but there are chunks on those areas where I'm like, oh, I never went there. I wonder what's there. And I know that there's something there because there's always something there in this game.
Right.
So we'll see. I'm sure I'll come back again. It is a very special game. I think I have to come back at a more moderate approach to it. So
right, not playing it all the time.
Not playing it all, not talking about it all the time. Not thinking about it all the time. Right now, don't want to think about it. Which has been great because I came back from I go visit my family. And then the Tuesday of this past week, Final Fantasy XIV had their 6.1 patch.
Oh, that's right.
So I got my nice happiness there. It is a continuation of the story from Endwalker, which is exactly kind of what I was hoping for, and the fact that it's not trying to set the stage of, oh, there's a bigger bad kind of thing. It's like, no, you defeated effectively God. Guess what? Go have fun with your friends.
That's nice.
Like, the stakes are not high. They're just like, be an adventurer. There's a lot of mystery in the world. Go explore. You've spent all this time with these companions you've made in the game. Go talk to them. They're all over the world now. Go talk to them and see what's going on with them and help them with their problems or what's going on.
That's kind of nice. Like
it's amazing,
especially coming off of Elden Ring. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna hang out with these characters I really like, and we're gonna do fun things. Okay, I'm in. And I'm sure it will build to big things again over many years.
Yeah.
But for now, the stakes aren't high again, and it definitely doesn't feel like the dev team feels like they have to make the stakes high. They're just like, I guess that's different than WoW in some ways. Where WoW has always had the problem of there's always a bigger bad. There's always something, we got to set up the bigger thing, the bad. And that kind of gets old, and WoW's not the only thing to do that. TV shows do that, book series do that.
Of course, yeah. Exactly. Yep. It's nice.
And they just chose not to do it here, and they're like, no. You fought the big bad. Relax. Have fun.
It reminds me of like dynamics in music where, like the loudness wars of the 90s where everything had to be so fucking loud and there were like not really any quiet parts in the music, but like the quiet parts make the loud parts better. Like you need like ups and downs, like peaks and valleys and whatever.
Yep.
If it's all peaks, that's just it's all peaks.
Yeah. So
quick question about Final Fantasy. Not that I'm doing this, but Final Fantasy 14 Online, the online starter edition, is that the one that someone would buy to start the game, or do you have to buy some other edition?
Let's see what's
because that one obviously doesn't have Endwalker or whatever. I know that, but like,
what does online starter edition have? I'm just checking.
Yeah.
No, don't buy that.
Okay.
That's weird.
Perfect.
It's the stuff that you could just play for free trial.
Got it. Okay.
But I guess the thing is, it doesn't have it. Like the free trial has some restrictions on it. On like, I think you can't be in guilds. You can't. There are things you can't do, like some social things you can't do.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing. I guess this is what you'd want if you were wanting to do those things. But I mean, I'm looking. I don't even. Why? Why would they sell this still? They don't need to.
Yeah.
No, you just do the. I guess it's just an easy in. If someone's done the free trial and stuff and they've been playing it and they want just the full subscription, they can just do a simple $20 and it includes a month of the game and the whole thing.
Yep.
I think. What?
So is
I'm
the
looking
complete
here.
edition that something that if I were to
Take an epic, includes the award-winning Final Fantasy and Heavensward.
Yeah, because this bundle here has Realm Reborn, Heavensward, Stormbloods, Shadowbringers, and Endwalker.
Yeah, you just want the complete edition.
Yeah.
That's the one that just has everything. Like that's the thing. You play the free trial to Heavensward, and then like, do you like it?
Yeah.
Okay, buy the complete edition, and then just keep going through the rest of the 100+ hours.
Exactly. I'm just we've had this conversation a million times, but I put in 50 hours basically into Horizon. I'm at almost 40 hours with Elden Ring. That's a lot of time,
It is.
That I actually find myself finally having some free time at night. Put in. So I'm thinking like, I'm not thinking now, but I'm thinking like, I don't know. I've been enjoying sinking into games again, deeply. So maybe I do want to give it a try. But yeah, the free edition is probably where I'd start, obviously.
Yeah, I think you totally should. There's no reason not to.
Cool.
So, anything else I've been playing? Vampire Survivors.
Oh yeah.
Because it's continued to get updates.
Oh.
They had a big update. They added more mechanics to the game, more weapons, more maps and unlocking, and it's still really good for $3.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think there's four effective stages now that you can run normal or hyper. They've added like 6 or 7 characters that you unlock in different ways now. There's like more mechanics you can unlock by like playing through different parts of the different maps and like hunting out specific stuff on the maps. I don't know. They've just taken the game that was still fun many months ago and made it even better with more stuff. And it's not even considered done. This is version 0.5 is what the current devs are calling it. So I'm like, what is 1.0 of this game whenever it's done?
When they finish adding all the characters they're going to add. And all
the characters and the mechanics, the stages.
Weapons. It says there's 38 out of 49 right now. 3 out of 5 relics. The top review here says, an early access game with 75,800 positive reviews for $3. Why are you even reading reviews?
Yeah.
That's good. Good job. Let's see what your name.
It's a 98% positivity rate. The only other game that I've seen at a 98% positivity rate was Hades.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's a big deal.
Yep.
Cool stuff.
It's ridiculous. Oh yeah, because they put that picture up. Yep, the relics and the arcanas were the new things that I was like, whoa, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've just been messing with those mechanics now.
Very cool.
It is very cool. And that's been a nice way to like intermix some games of that with some Final Fantasy dungeons and raids that I've been running. Oh, that's the other thing with Final Fantasy. With the 6.1 patch now, you can play through all of the content of A Realm Reborn and I think Heavensward solo.
Oh.
Like they went back and so from Endwalker, Shadowbringers and Endwalker, you could run the dungeons with a AI party behind you. Mm-hmm. They've now started going back and are working through all of the content to make that possible. And 6.1 brought, A Realm Reborn and Heavensward dungeons. So any 4-man content in the game, you can just run with AI yourself and 3 AI.
That's cool.
And they redid the dungeons for A Realm Reborn. Like, there was a lot of early dungeons. People were like, "Oh, these were terrible." Yeah, they completely changed them, completely streamlined them, and redid them in this patch. Because
that's great.
Sure. So that's the thing with it. It's probably in the best state to start playing it now than it's ever been. Especially if you're like, oh, I don't want to worry about having to get grouped with people to play. It's like, you don't even have to.
Right. Or feeling like you're locked out of the best content because you don't have people to run with.
Yep.
Yeah. That's how Destiny felt to me.
I would totally agree with that. It's totally how Destiny felt. It's like, oh, you have to have people to raid with if you want to see the cool stuff. Yeah. And I'm not going to raid because the amount of time it takes and dedication it takes to raid in Destiny is more than I have to give.
Exactly. Yep, I agree.
So
it's such a fucking bummer that I loved the gunplay of that, but I was locked out of the cool shit.
Yep. So, well, that's what I have been playing. I don't think anything else.
Yeah, awesome. Like that kind of takes us to the end of the podcast. Then we've been. It's good to talk to you this week about games. It's been 2 weeks is too long, but I'm glad
it does. It felt like forever. I'll be honest.
It did. It really did. This was episode 334 of Prof and Dev Play Games. If you like us, please rate us on your podcast service of choice. Tell a couple friends. Tell your grandma. Tell whoever. And we will see you next week. See you then.
Later, everyone.